There are women in this world who carry themselves in a way that leaves no space for doubt, no room for disrespect. They do not beg for attention, they do not chase validation, and they do not lower their crown to fit into someone else's small vision of them. Their strength does not scream, it whispers. Their presence does not demand, it commands. And that, my sisters, is where the deepest respect is born. Self-respect is the foundation of a woman's power. It is the invisible signal that tells the world how to deal with her. A woman who values herself never accepts crumbs when she deserves the feast. She does not settle for being treated as an option because she knows she is a priority. She does not wait for someone else to confirm her worth, because that worth is already written deep within her. The way she carries herself, the way she speaks, the way she chooses who can and cannot have access to her life, these are all reflections of self-respect. People look at her and instantly recognize that she is not someone who can be played with. She is not someone who will allow disrespect to pass unnoticed. She is not someone who needs to beg for attention because her presence alone demands it. When a woman truly practices self-respect, she changes the entire dynamic of her relationships. People learn quickly how far they can go with her. They test boundaries, but the way she responds sets the tone. If she allows lies, excuses, or half-hearted effort, people will assume she accepts them. If she rejects them and walks away with her dignity intact, they realize they cannot treat her carelessly. Self-respect is not about arrogance. It is about knowing your value so deeply that you refuse to discount yourself. It is the unspoken contract you create with the world. This is how I deserve to be treated, and anything less will not be allowed near me. A woman without self-respect often finds herself in cycles of pain because she allows what should have been stopped. She explains too much, forgives too quickly, or accepts too little. But a woman with self-respect carries an energy that cannot be ignored. She does not need to shout her boundaries. They are written in her behavior. She does not need to beg for loyalty. People either give it, or they lose their place beside her. She does not settle for temporary affection. She waits for genuine love. And in doing so, she teaches others exactly how to treat her. Self-respect also means she is not afraid of being alone. Loneliness does not scare her because she knows solitude is better than being surrounded by people who drain her spirit. She chooses peace over chaos, dignity over desperation, and growth over comfort. Her choices speak louder than her words, and those choices inspire respect. She becomes the type of woman others admire, even if they cannot fully understand her. They may not say it out loud, but deep down they know she is different. She is powerful. She is not like the rest. Every interaction becomes a reflection of her standards. If someone approaches her with dishonesty, she does not argue, she distances herself. If someone offers her less than she deserves, she does not complain, she simply refuses. If someone tries to break her, she does not shatter, she rises stronger. Her self-respect guides her like a compass, always pointing her back to her worth, no matter how the world tries to distract her. True respect from others begins with respect for yourself. When you show people that you do not bend for disrespect, that you do not lower your crown for convenience, and that you do not exchange your dignity for temporary affection, you set the standard. And the world always rises to meet the standards of a woman who refuses to lower them. There is a certain strength in a woman who does not give away her emotions easily. She does not explode at every insult. She does not cry at every disappointment, and she does not beg when someone tries to walk away. Instead, she stands still, steady, and composed. That composure is her weapon, because people expect her to break. They expect her to scream, to chase, to fall apart. But when she does none of those things, it unsettles them. Silence becomes louder than any words, and control becomes more powerful than any reaction. A woman who knows how to control her emotions cannot be manipulated, because she is not moved by games, lies, or pressure. She holds her ground, and that makes others realize she is not someone they can easily shake. Emotional control does not mean she feels nothing. It means she knows when and how to express what she feels. She understands that not every emotion deserves a stage, not every provocation deserves a response, and not every pain deserves to be witnessed by the one who caused it. Her ability to remain calm in the face of chaos gives her power over the situation. She does not hand her strength to anyone by allowing them to dictate how she reacts. Instead, she chooses her silence, her patience, and her grace as tools of strength. And people quickly learn that her quietness is not weakness, it is mastery. Those who lack emotional control often find themselves drained, used, and misunderstood. They react too quickly, and in doing so, they show their vulnerability to those who do not deserve it. But a woman who controls her emotions keeps her power within. No one can read her like an open book, because she does not allow her feelings to be scattered in the hands of those who might misuse them. She decides when to reveal her thoughts, when to share her heart, and when to remain silent. That control makes others respect her, because they know they cannot predict her, they cannot provoke her, and they cannot rule her with emotional tricks. In every argument, in every betrayal, in every test of patience, she understands one truth: reactions give power away. The more you show that someone's actions hurt you, the more they know they have control. But when you remain calm, when you respond with dignity, when you do not collapse under pressure, you shift the balance of power back to yourself. Silence becomes the wall that protects your energy. People may throw their words at you, they may try to trigger you, but your stillness makes their efforts useless. Emotional control also creates mystery. It makes people wonder what you are thinking, what you are feeling, what you will do next. They cannot read you, and that keeps them careful. They approach you with more respect, because they know you are not someone they can easily figure out. The unknown becomes your strength, and they treat you with caution, because they never know where your silence might lead. This kind of control is not easy, because it requires discipline. It requires the ability to sit with your emotions, to breathe through the storm, to allow your heart to hurt without letting the pain spill into weakness. But every time a woman holds her silence, every time she chooses her dignity over a reaction, every time she keeps her calm when others expect her to break, she grows stronger. She proves to herself that she cannot be controlled by anyone else's behavior. She owns her emotions, and therefore she owns herself. True independence is the hallmark of a woman who cannot be shaken by the opinions or actions of others. It is more than financial freedom, it is emotional freedom, mental freedom, and spiritual freedom. A woman who is independent understands that her value is not tied to anyone else's presence in her life. She does not need approval, validation, or permission to live fully. Her completeness comes from within, and that makes her unbreakable. When a woman knows she can stand on her own, she no longer fears being alone. She no longer fears rejection, abandonment, or disappointment, because she carries her strength with her wherever she goes. Independence is not just a state of being. It is a declaration that no one has the power to define her worth. An independent woman sets her own path. She does not wait for someone to guide her or to tell her what she deserves. She makes her own decisions, takes responsibility for her choices, and embraces the consequences with courage. She invests in herself, her mind, her body, her heart, her dreams, because she knows that no one else is obligated to do it for her. In her independence, she finds freedom from compromise that diminishes her spirit. She does not give herself away to situations or people that ask her to shrink, lower, or question her value. She is whole on her own, and that wholeness radiates in every interaction, every choice, every step she takes. The strength of independence also lies in resilience. An independent woman faces challenges head-on because she trusts herself to overcome them. She does not panic when obstacles appear, because she knows she has the tools to rise above. She does not look for a savior because she is her own hero. This resilience is magnetic. People notice that she is not dependent on anyone else to define her happiness, to validate her decisions, or to support her ambitions. That magnetism draws respect naturally because the energy she carries cannot be manipulated. It cannot be bought, bargained, or borrowed. It is owned fully by her. Independence also creates clarity in relationships. A woman who is complete within herself does not tolerate anything less than what aligns with her standards. She does not cling to people who cannot meet her where she is. She does not beg for love or attention because she knows that giving from a place of need is not love, it is desperation. Her independence allows her to observe others objectively, to make decisions without bias, and to choose connections that enhance rather than drain her life. People respect her because they see she is not dependent, she is not fearful, and she is not easily swayed. Her presence commands authenticity in others because she cannot be fooled or taken for granted. Financial independence is part of the picture, but emotional and mental independence are far more powerful. She does not rely on approval to feel worthy. She does not rely on validation to feel beautiful. She does not rely on affection to feel complete. Her identity is solid, her value undeniable, and her purpose clear. Independence allows her to walk away from situations that compromise her dignity without regret, because she knows she is already enough. It frees her from toxic attachments, manipulative relationships, and societal pressures that try to define her limitations. The beauty of a woman's independence is that it inspires others silently. People witness it, feel it, and unconsciously rise to respect it. She does not announce her strength, she embodies it. She does not demand recognition. She earns it through her actions and presence. When a woman is independent, she no longer fears the opinions of those who do not understand her, because she knows her worth is untouchable, her value undeniable, and her life complete without needing anyone else to define it. A woman who understands the power of boundaries commands respect effortlessly. Boundaries are not walls built out of fear. They are lines drawn with clarity, courage, and self-awareness. They are the invisible lines that tell the world how far someone can go before they enter a space that belongs solely to her. A woman with strong boundaries knows that her time, her energy, her emotions, and her life are precious, and she refuses to allow anyone to diminish them. She does not apologize for setting limits because she knows that limits are not weaknesses. They are the foundation of self-respect and self-preservation. People may test them, push against them, and try to break them, but when a woman enforces her boundaries consistently, they quickly learn that she cannot be manipulated or taken for granted. Boundaries begin with knowing yourself. A woman must understand her worth, her values, and her non-negotiables before she can set clear limits. She must know what behaviors, words, and actions are unacceptable, and she must stand firm in defending them. She does not compromise her peace for temporary comfort, because she understands that a moment of ease is never worth a lifetime of regret. When she draws a line, it is not for punishment or control. It is for protection, for clarity, and for alignment with her true self. People respect her because she respects herself. They feel the strength behind her decisions and learn quickly that disrespect will not be tolerated. Boundaries also serve as a guide for others. They communicate what is acceptable and what is not without a single word being wasted. A woman with boundaries does not need to explain herself endlessly or justify her actions. Her choices and her limits speak louder than any argument. She walks through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that those who belong in her life will honor her rules, and those who do not are free to leave. This creates a natural filter, separating those who add value from those who drain energy. It is not exclusion, it is protection. It is not coldness, it is clarity. It is a recognition that peace of mind is priceless, and it cannot be traded for anyone's temporary convenience or approval. Maintaining boundaries requires courage and consistency. People may resist, test, or even resent the limits you set, especially if they are used to overstepping. But every time a woman stands her ground, she reinforces her power and teaches others how she must be treated. Boundaries are not negotiable for someone who truly understands their purpose. They are the lines that prevent exploitation, manipulation, and disrespect. They are the shield that preserves her energy and allows her to thrive without compromise. A woman who enforces her boundaries becomes a force that cannot be ignored, because her presence demands careful attention, respect, and consideration. Boundaries are not only about interactions with others, they are also about how a woman treats herself. She sets limits on the thoughts she allows to consume her, the habits she engages in, and the environment she tolerates. She does not give herself away to situations that harm her growth or peace. She chooses relationships, opportunities, and experiences that align with her standards and reject what does not. This internal discipline radiates outward, creating a life that is orderly, intentional, and empowered. People sense this energy and respond with respect, because it is clear that she is not someone to be walked over, negotiated with, or used for convenience. A woman who protects her peace through boundaries also teaches others to value themselves. Her example is a silent lesson in dignity and self-worth. She does not need to argue, explain, or demand respect. The boundaries themselves do the work. When people encounter a woman who is unshakable, composed, and unapologetic about her limits, they cannot help but rise to meet her standards. They recognize that her energy, time, and presence are not to be wasted, and they adjust their behavior accordingly. A woman who truly understands her worth does not seek validation from anyone. She does not chase affection, plead for recognition, or compromise her dignity to be seen or appreciated. She knows that her value is inherent, unshakable, and complete, and she refuses to allow anyone to determine it for her. Begging for love or attention is a sign of uncertainty, a signal that someone has not yet realized their own power. But a woman who has embraced her worth walks through the world with a quiet confidence that cannot be ignored. Her presence alone draws admiration, because she does not ask to be noticed. She simply exists, and that existence commands respect. This kind of woman understands that love cannot be forced and attention cannot be demanded. She does not settle for crumbs of care, fleeting gestures, or temporary interest. She knows that genuine love and authentic attention are freely given, not bargained for. By refusing to beg, she elevates herself above relationships or situations that do not honor her. She does not waste her energy on people who cannot see her value, because she understands that her time, energy, and heart are precious resources that deserve respect. This self-awareness makes her unapproachable for manipulation and impossible to take for granted. A woman who knows her value also understands the difference between love and obsession, attention and approval. She does not mistake flattery or superficial gestures for true care. She does not allow insecurity to dictate her actions, because she has built an internal reservoir of self-esteem that others cannot deplete. She does not need constant reassurance, endless compliments, or validation to feel complete. Her confidence is visible in her choices, her posture, her voice, and the way she interacts with the world. People sense that she cannot be controlled or swayed by empty gestures, and that realization makes them treat her differently. Respect comes naturally to someone who refuses to beg. Refusing to beg for love or attention also means embracing patience and discernment. She understands that the right connections will honor her without coercion. She knows that forcing attachment or demanding recognition only leads to imbalance, resentment, and unhappiness. By holding her standards and remaining true to herself, she attracts those who genuinely value her presence. She becomes magnetic not because she tries to impress or please, but because her authenticity and self-assurance shine through. People are drawn to her because she is complete, confident, and unapologetically herself. A woman who knows her worth sets the tone for how she will be treated in every interaction. She does not over-explain her needs. She does not compromise her boundaries. And she does not grovel for attention. She makes it clear through her actions, her demeanor, and her choices that she deserves respect, care, and honesty. Those who are capable of offering these qualities rise to meet her standards, while those who cannot are naturally filtered out of her life. This selective approach protects her peace, nurtures her growth, and ensures that her relationships are meaningful and balanced. The power of a woman who never begs lies in her independence of spirit. She has cultivated self-love, self-respect, and self-awareness to such a degree that external validation becomes unnecessary. She knows her worth, trusts her intuition, and honors her values without compromise. She carries herself with an unshakable sense of dignity, and that dignity attracts the right kind of attention and love, effortless, genuine, and lasting. Her life becomes a reflection of her inner strength, and she becomes an example to others of what it means to honor oneself fully. Respect is not something a woman requests, negotiates, or pleads for. It is earned, radiated, and projected through the way she moves through the world. A woman who carries herself with dignity, confidence, and composure commands attention without effort. She does not need to demand recognition because her presence announces it. Respect begins with self-awareness, the understanding of her own worth, values, and power, and it manifests in every word she speaks, every decision she makes, and every boundary she upholds. People sense when someone respects themselves, and that energy alone sets the standard for how they will be treated. The way a woman carries herself sends an unspoken message. Her posture, her tone of voice, the calmness in her reactions, and the steadiness in her gaze all communicate that she is not to be underestimated. She does not need to assert herself loudly. Her quiet confidence does all the work. When a woman walks into a room knowing her value, she shifts the dynamics of every interaction. People instinctively adjust their behavior because they can feel the power and self-respect she exudes. That energy alone commands respect, often before a single word is exchanged. Carrying oneself with respect also means making choices that align with personal standards. A woman does not compromise her integrity for convenience or approval. She does not tolerate disrespect, dishonesty, or betrayal, and she does not allow anyone to diminish her light. Each decision she makes reflects the boundaries she has set and the values she holds. By living consistently with integrity, she demonstrates the kind of person she is, and others respond accordingly. Respect follows naturally when a woman refuses to compromise on her principles, because it becomes clear that she cannot be taken for granted or manipulated. Another key element in commanding respect is composure under pressure. A woman who remains poised in difficult situations signals that she is unshakable. She does not react impulsively to insults, challenges, or attempts at manipulation. Instead, she handles conflict with calm intelligence, choosing her responses carefully and strategically. Her restraint is a powerful demonstration of control, showing that she is not easily influenced by external chaos. People instinctively respect strength, and the ability to stay composed in the face of adversity communicates that strength in the clearest possible way. Respect is also communicated through authenticity. A woman who is unapologetically herself does not bend to fit someone else's expectations. She does not alter her personality, values, or desires to gain approval. She speaks her truth, pursues her goals, and lives in alignment with her own vision. Authenticity attracts respect because it signals courage, integrity, and self-assurance. People are drawn to someone who is genuine, and they honor the confidence it takes to remain true to oneself. Finally, commanding respect involves understanding the power of presence. The energy a woman carries is as important as her actions. Confidence, self-awareness, and intentionality in every movement create an aura, that is impossible to ignore. She does not need to demand acknowledgement, because her energy naturally asserts her place. People sense when someone respects themselves, and they respond in kind. Commanding respect is not about domination or intimidation. It is about embodying self-worth so fully that the world cannot help but recognize it. Respect, power, and worth are not given, they are claimed. A woman who lives by self-respect, emotional control, independence, clear boundaries, knowing her value, and carrying herself with dignity does not need to demand admiration. She earns it effortlessly. She becomes a force that cannot be shaken, a presence that cannot be ignored, and a standard that others naturally rise to meet. Her life is a reflection of her inner strength, her choices, and the unwavering belief in her own worth. When a woman embodies these principles, she does not simply exist. She commands respect, inspires change, and leaves an indelible mark on everyone who crosses her path.